In a quiet, sunlit room filled with the scent of polished wood and the soft rustle of fabrics, I began my most ambitious handcrafting project yet, a breathtaking crown for an ancient queen. This was no ordinary decorative piece. It was meant to capture the elegance, grandeur, and dignity of a monarch from centuries past, evoking a time when royal jewels were not only symbols of power, but also of artistry and devotion. My goal was to create something that would gleam under candlelight, shimmer under the sun, and whisper tales of ancient courts and timeless beauty. The first step was careful planning. I spread a large sheet of parchment on the table and began sketching. The crown structure needed to be both strong and graceful, with an intricate design that reflected royal authority while remaining delicate enough to convey refinement. I envisioned a regal base band with fine floral patterns, a set of arches rising from it, and a central crest adorned with a large gemstone, symbolizing wisdom and strength. To maintain authenticity, I researched historical crowns worn by queens in different cultures, blending elements from European, Middle Eastern, and Asian designs to create a unique hybrid worthy of a queen in a storybook realm. Material selection was crucial. I chose lightweight yet sturdy brass for the base structure, as it was easier to shape than steel while still offering durability. To achieve the golden glow of royal regalia, I prepared sheets of high-quality gold leaf, ready to be applied once the shaping was complete. For embellishments, I collected imitation gems in deep crimson, royal blue, and emerald green, along with tiny glass beads that could mimic the sparkle of diamonds. Each gemstone would be carefully set into the design to catch and reflect light from every angle. Fine silk ribbons and delicate lace trims were also laid out, as they would add soft textures and intricate details to the crown's interior and base. The crafting process began with shaping the brass band. Using a small jeweler's hammer, I gently tapped along its length, bending it into a perfect circle. Every tap had to be precise to avoid creating dents that would mar the final look. Once the base was secured, I began carving patterns into it using a fine engraving tool. I chose a repeating motif of intertwined vines and blossoms, symbolizing both the flourishing prosperity of the kingdom and the grace of the queen herself. The process was slow and required intense concentration. One slip of the hand could ruin hours of work. Next came the arches. I cut thin strips of brass, curving them upward from the base to form a crown-like silhouette. Each arch ended in a small point, which I planned to cap with a gem to create a halo of color above the wearer's head. The central arch was slightly taller, providing a focal point for the large crimson gemstone that would serve as the crown's heart. To ensure the structure was stable, I soldered each arch securely to the base and polished away any rough edges. Applying the gold leaf was perhaps the most delicate stage of all. I brushed the metal surface with a thin layer of adhesive, then carefully laid the fragile gold sheets across it. The leaf clung to every curve and engraving, instantly transforming the dull brass into a radiant gold surface. Any excess gold was gently brushed away, revealing patterns that seemed to glow from within. The crown was already beginning to look regal, but it was far from finished. Setting the gemstones was like adding stars to a night sky. I began with the central crimson stone, securing it with small prongs that I bent tightly around its edges. Around it, I arranged alternating sapphires and emeralds, each positioned to balance the crown's color harmony. The smaller glass beads were placed along the vine patterns, catching light in a subtle, twinkling way. Each gem was handled with tweezers to avoid fingerprints or smudges, and I double-checked the security of every setting to ensure none would loosen over time. Once the exterior was complete, I turned my attention to the inner lining. To ensure comfort for the wearer, I sewed a narrow strip of padded silk around the inside of the base. The silk was a soft ivory color, chosen to complement the gold and jewel tones without distracting from them. I then added a lace trim along the bottom edge, giving the crown an extra layer of vintage charm. The contrast between the glowing gold, the vivid gemstones, and the soft textures created a balance of strength and delicacy, much like the queen it was meant to honor. With the crown fully assembled, I placed it on a velvet cushion to examine it under different lighting. In the warm glow of the afternoon sun, it gleamed with a gentle radiance, the gold leaf catching light in ripples. In the cooler tones of evening candlelight, the jewels came alive, casting tiny reflections like sparks of magic. Every detail, the engraved vines, the beaded accents, the careful symmetry, told a silent story of dedication and artistry. As I stepped back, I imagined the crown in its rightful setting. I could see the queen entering a grand hall, her gown flowing like liquid silk, the crown resting upon her head as courtiers bowed in reverence. The light would strike the central gemstone, sending a ruby-red glow across her features, making her seem both human and divine. The crown would not just be an ornament, it would be a statement of legacy, tradition, and the craftsmanship of a devoted artisan. Creating such a piece was not just about skill with tools or precision with materials. It was about channeling history, culture, and imagination into something tangible. Every moment of the process, from the first pencil sketch to the final polish, was a journey through time, linking me to artisans of centuries past who had poured their hearts into similar works. I felt a kinship with those unknown creators, knowing that the love of beauty and the pursuit of perfection transcends generations. When the crown was finally complete, I wrapped it in a protective silk cloth and stored it in a wooden chest lined with velvet. I knew it would rest there safely, waiting for the moment it would once again see the light, whether in a royal ceremony, a historical reenactment, or perhaps in the hands of someone who, like me, cherishes the magic of the past. In that quiet moment, with the crown resting in its box, I felt a deep satisfaction. I had not just made an object, I had brought a vision to life, turning metal, gold, and stone into a shining emblem of timeless elegance.